You're listening to the Journey Podcast. Are you ready to embark on a journey of self-discovery and self-care? Explore the transformative power of wholehearted loving and caring for yourself in today's episode. Hi, I'm Petra Brunbauer, and with decades of experience with sadness, pain, anxiety, and stress, I finally figured out how to leave all that behind. And this podcast shows you how to break free permanently so you can reclaim your sanity and find the self-esteem and energy to go after the life you desire. With real talk about mental health, holistic healing, and the tough journey of coming out the other end. This is the Journey Podcast. Welcome to today's episode. Today is part of Mental Illness Awareness Week in the US, and this is a special bonus episode. In this episode, we explore the transformative power of wholehearted loving and caring for yourself and how embracing a mindset of love can bring about profound changes in life. Wholehearted loving and caring for yourself can be a catalyst for personal growth and transformation. Wholehearted loving and caring for yourself can be a catalyst for personal growth and transformation. Whether you're seeking to deepen your understanding of self-love, looking for practical tips to enhance your self-care routine, or desiring to cultivate a more loving and compassionate mindset, this episode offers an inspirational recipe to help you embrace a life filled with love. Dr. Jean-Marie Farish's mission is to spread the message of love. Host of the Voice America World Talk Radio empowerment show, Love Light, she's a certified rehabilitation counselor, international best-selling and award-winning author, educator, life care coach, and founder CEO, Life Care Wellness PEP for Angels, Inc., to enrich lives and serve our community with emphasis on children hospitalized. And the Dr. Jean-Marie Farish Center for Conscious Loving, LLC. She has been a guest on numerous international podcasts and international radio interviews, and featured on the covers of Published and Book Mad magazines, and as an authentic messenger in Sparks of Inspiration magazine, and author interviews on local television shows. Dr. Jean-Marie earned her PhD in Rehabilitation, Master's in Rehabilitation Counseling, and BA in Psychology. Her work is a culmination of successfully combining her education, career as an administrator and professor in higher education, transformational life experiences, and services as a vocational expert and almost a decade of service as rehabilitation counselor practitioner, helping clients with community re-entry from prison. Her 6-month stay in Penang, Malaysia, where she worked at University Sains Malaysia in the Division of Industry and Community Engagement as honorary professor on invitation by Pro Dato C. Ching Mei, and recent visit to India in the Himalayas, a Buddhist sect in northern India, were transformative. Her empowering message of inspiration is, it's all about love. Here is my interview with Dr. Jean-Marie Farish. Hi, Dr. Jean-Marie. It's so great to have you on the podcast today. I've been looking forward to getting to chat with you because wholehearted loving and caring for yourself is such an important topic for mental health and holistic healing. Welcome to the podcast.
Well, Petra, thank you so much. I'm delighted to be a guest on your Journey podcast on a topic that is so endearing. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, it's my pleasure, and I can't wait to learn more about your message. So you want to start off introducing yourself a little bit and letting us know how you got into this work.
Well, thank you so much. That's a great question. I'm the host of Voice America World Talk Radio empowerment show, Love Light, Living in the Spirit of Love. I'm an author, educator, and life care coach. I'm the founder and CEO of Life Care Wellness Pet for Angels. It's a nonprofit organization with the mission to enrich lives, serve our community with an emphasis on children hospitalized. And I also have another business, Dr. Jean-Marie Farish Center for Conscious Loving. Would you like for me to share, how I kind of arrived at doing what I'm doing?
Yeah, I think we would all love to know more about, because the topic of wholehearted loving is so interesting. I'd love to know how you got to work in this field.
Well, thank you so much. I must share that I spent my career as an administrator and professor in higher education, primarily training master's level students to become rehabilitation counselors. And I was also working as a private practice rehabilitation counselor practitioner, helping people with mental health issues and also those re entering the community from prison. So these were very enriching experiences. However, Petra, I was always a truth seeker. Being a professor and teacher, I was always seeking information. But it was something, I had this yearning and curiosity about the truth of life. And after achieving significant milestones in my life, I became somewhat disillusioned with societal expectations and standards and, for success and happiness. And I always felt like something was missing. And there was a deep yearning for something more than, the fleeting external pleasures and personal achievements. It was like a spiritual hunger. And so, with these existential questions, I started posing to myself, who am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose? And I realized that this was a soul longing rather, to come home to my true self with more love, peace, joy, and greater meaning and fulfillment. And the realization of the truth of who I am and understanding love and self care really satisfied this hunger and shifted me from really fear of being preoccupied with the past and obsessed with the future to truly live in the moment, to be loved, live in love, and Petra, really to return to my natural state of being. And this kind of laid the foundation, the early foundation for my work.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And those are some big questions that I'm sure a lot of the listeners can identify with when we come to a point. And like you said, who are we? What is our purpose here? Where are we supposed to go? What are we supposed to do? So, did you come up with a sort of philosophy on all of these questions that now drives your passion and your purpose? Did you kind of find sort of an answer to all of those questions, or are you still searching?
I love this question because I think we're always in a state of becoming, but I am pleased to share, what guides my, passion and purpose and my philosophy, so to speak. There's a relevant quote by Henry Drummond. You will find as you look upon your life that the moments when you really lived are the moments when you've done things in the spirit of love. And that's so important. The vibration of love changes everything, expanding our consciousness to a higher state of being. And it is said that we're either in love or fear. And love is really the solution to all human problems, but it's also, Petra, our greatest challenge. And, love is our universal language. And I experienced this traveling to other lands where there were heartfelt connections when we didn't even speak each other's language. But in order to love fully, it begins with loving ourselves. To give love, we must possess love. And there's a quote by Buddha that says, you, as much as anyone in the entire universe, deserve your own love and affection. And, highlighting what the master said, that we're either in love or fear, and love is the highest vibration. This drives my life and my mission to live an altruistic and heart centered life anchored in love, to flourish in love, and to master my life. Petra, it is my personal responsibility, and this means living by the higher ideals of love. So, therefore, in my work, through my teaching, my writing, my radio shows, speaking, I learn and I grow with hope to create this positive effect for change, this ripple effect. And my motto is each one, reach one, teach one to empower our lives with love.
Wow, I love that. And I love your philosophy. And,
Thank you.
as you're speaking, I do understand that sometimes loving ourselves first can be one of the biggest challenges that we ever face. It is sometimes so difficult. And have you overcome any challenges yourself in this journey as you are learning and finding out more about yourself and your purpose? What kind of challenges have you overcome that came your way?
Well, Petra, this is a great question, and I'm so pleased to address it. I was a high achiever and perfectionist, always trying to improve and prove myself. But under that was the hidden veil of perfectionism. And under that was unworthiness, trying to be perfect, striving to be good. And there's a quote by Anne Lamott: perfectionism is the voice of the oppressor. Love was transactional based on my perceived worthiness to receive. And I was constantly trying to fix and improve my egoic and small self. I was an overgiver and people pleaser. I sacrificed myself at my own expense until I was depleted. And I was giving from a half filled and sometimes empty cup. And Petra, I attracted myself to people and situations where that theme of unworthiness continued to play out in my life, trapped in outworn stories, faulty beliefs, playing this script out in every facet of my life. And what happened, Petra, I became physically and emotionally depleted. My life was totally out of balance. And these events catapulted me into the dark night of the soul. And through grace, I was divinely gifted with an opportunity to spend 6 months in Penang, Malaysia on a work assignment at University of Science Malaysia upon invitation by former Vice Chancellor Prof. Dato Seyching May. And I found my way home to my true self in the midst of this peaceful, beautiful, tropical environment with the communal spirit of the people, encounters with priests and masters. And there was a familiarity to me about this land where I found so comforting and peaceful. And I was immersed in love. I asked myself a question during the last days of my journey, and I had a spiritual epiphany. And the question, like, what was the real purpose of this journey? And it was like spirit revealed and whispered. I heard a quiet whisper. It was all about love. And from there, my life was transformed as I continued to try to learn and understand, to grow and embody the practice of love, and also empower others to do the same. And of course, my recent trip to India, Leh Ladakh in the Himalayas last year, was another highlight on my life's journey with a focus on, happiness, well-being, self-care, and compassion. So that kind of wraps up, some challenges and, moving forward with a greater understanding about myself, my divine connection, that I am love, I am worthy. It's my divine birthright.
Yeah, that's a really important point that you share there because many people don't understand that love and that joy is our birthright. And it might even be our natural state because when we're born, we come into the world generally pretty happy without any worries or filters. And somehow that changes, but that remains our birthright. So, what a wonderful point you're making. Now, if people are struggling and they're trying to work their way through some challenges in their lives, how can they create a new love story for themselves? How can they go about that?
Petra, this is a wonderful question because in my work and in my teachings and my classes, this is what I try to do to help people create a new love story. And as I indicated earlier, I was trapped in this script of outworn beliefs about myself that was not the truth of who I am. And through my engagement with students and listeners on my show and, on my Facebook, I find that this whole aspect of loving and caring for yourself is kind of second. We put ourselves on the back burner. And how we feel about ourselves determine how we relate in all key areas of our lives. And that includes spiritual, personal development, romance, health and fitness, fun and recreation, finance, and social life. And we've learned things about ourselves that's not the truth of who we are. These faulty beliefs and expectations ingrained from family, society, institutions that's resulted in many feeling unworthy and not good enough. That I have to be perfect. I have to overgive. I have to fit in to be accepted. I have to always be there for others, no matter what. And I show students and people in my network that we have to keep ourselves at the forefront of our thoughts. And worthiness, again, is our divine birthright, and it's not dependent on outside sources. So, in creating our new love story, we have to make it happen. In my book, Living in the Spirit of Love, Our Natural State of Being, it is so that love is our natural state. And this is where we should return. And in my introductory chapter, I share my love story. And I use the power of Sankofa from the Akan tribe in Ghana, which is depicted as a mythological bird with its feet pointed forward, with its head reaching backward, taking a fertile egg. And the analogy is really to move forward in your life and take what is fertile, because we really kind of bring that baggage and these outworn stories in every aspect of our lives. Kierkegaard says life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forward. So we have to reflect, we have to examine our lives, and as Socrates, as well as Stella Terrell Mann stated, an unexamined life is not worth living. Now, Petra, that may sound very harsh, but it's true. And in order to love others, we have to first love ourselves and do some reflection. So as I look back upon my life from childhood forward, there were many revelations. And it took time for me to review and process my life. It was painful and it was joyful, but I had to be gentle and compassionate with myself. And I learned so much about myself. It's like I brought things that were buried up to my consciousness where I could understand and gain more awareness about myself. In my book, Living in the Spirit of Love, Our Natural State of Being, I provide readers with a personalized life care plan that reflects on all those key life areas and to discern how they are being with themselves, with the realization that change is empowering. It is possible with strategies and small steps to move forward. So that's creating our new love story.
Yeah. And I love the way that you approach this. And it is true. If we don't examine our lives, we have no room to grow. We don't understand what happened, what we can change, how things can challenge and stretch us, teach us new things. So, yeah, I love how you approach that. Now, you've worked a lot with people on love and self-love. And what is your holistic model of love, or as you call it, the recipe of love? And how can people apply that in their own lives to have more joy, to have more love, and to start creating their own love story?
Well, Petra, I am delighted to share the holistic model of love, this ideal love, this supreme gift, divine love that shows us just how to anchor in the power of love. Love is often a casual expression of sentiments with conditions attached. I love you until you do something I do not like. And in my early research, I found more topics about romantic love. And I find that many people really don't understand what comprises love, what love really means, even though we are love at our core. But we've forgotten to be who we truly are, again, infiltrated by these faulty beliefs. So, what is the real meaning of love? And applying it to themselves to stretch takes awareness, learning, and practice. What I do, I adopted the divinely inspired work, the research and study on the life and works of the 18th century noble Scottishman Henry Drummond, counselor, teacher, scientist, evangelist, world traveler, who analyzed love in his spectrum of love from the theme of love in the biblical scripture, 1 Corinthians 13, that I adopt as the holistic model of love. And Petra, the recipe of love includes 9 ingredients. And these ingredients are patience, kindness, humility, courtesy, unselfishness, generosity, guilelessness, good temper, and sincerity. And through my research, I found that Drummond truly lived in love and was exemplary in his practice. And he says that all of these ingredients must be practiced and not one omitted, like colors of the rainbow. And this takes conscious awareness, understanding of each ingredient to strengthen and embody the practice of love using these 9 ingredients, first with ourselves. And then, of course, we can radiate this to others because love is reconnection to our true self, and it's an inside job. And Petra, I will be happy to go through each of those, give you some highlights of each ingredient if you'd like me to do so.
That would be wonderful. I'm very curious about how the recipe of love comes together, so I would definitely like to know more. And I'm sure our listeners are very curious at this point also. So please dive in and let us know more about the ingredients.
Okay. Well, as I indicated, there are 9 ingredients. The first one, patience. And not one comes before the other because, as Drummond says, it's like we have to implement all of these. Not one can be missing. So this requires alertness, understanding of each ingredient. And for me, through my daily life, I know when I'm not practicing one or the other. And, I can shift back and do some reflection, what's going on? You're not being patient with yourself. Let's look at what's going on. Or maybe you're not being patient with someone else. What does that say about you? Because as we know, we kind of mirror what we are feeling in terms of how we relate to others. So patience, to be patient with ourselves, calm, not rushed, not in a hurry. When I am calm, when we are calm, we can make better choices. We can slow down and make better decisions. Then there's kindness. Oftentimes we do not treat ourselves well. So treating ourselves with compassion and respect, being gentle with ourselves. Then there's generosity, to be open to giving to yourself, giving from a place of love and with pure intentions, because this radiates out to others, as I indicated, as we are more generous to ourselves, this extends to others. Then there's humility. I really love humility. To be humble, not puffed up with ego and self-importance and arrogance. When we're humble, we are open to learning. We can listen and we can receive divine guidance. And then there's courtesy, to be polite to ourselves, to speak to ourselves in positive ways. We're always talking to ourselves, right? So this self-recognition and appreciation of ourselves, to really respect and treat ourselves positively, is so important. Then there's unselfishness, you know, an aspect of really embracing all of who I am, whether I'm sad, happy, have not done the right thing or made the right choices, and, to ultimately practice selfless service with pure, loving intentions and motives. Then there's good temper. This is a great one because bad temper is self destructive and destructive for all that we encounter. And this is to not be provoked, reactive, ill tempered, jealous, angry, and self righteous. Then there's guilelessness. And this is really about not thinking evil of ourselves and holding evil intentions and thoughts. That's reflected again in negative self talk and feelings about ourselves. And then there's sincerity, the last one, to accept what is real and true, to be honest, authentic, and trustworthy. to always seek truth. And today we realize there's so much falsity going on and so much distraction. So, it's up to us to seek truth. And this picture is divine love that teaches us how to honor and love ourselves. And this recipe of love is all about conscious loving. And these ingredients really take a lot of practice in daily life with alertness. But the litmus test is how we feel about ourselves, as we practice these ingredients. And as I indicated, I recognize when I'm not exhibiting these qualities. I don't feel right, and I call it out, and I can shift because being in the high vibration of love makes me feel so good. And I have to self correct. And for me, it's becoming natural to me. I don't have to work as hard.
Hmm. Yeah. And, as you're talking about these ingredients in the recipe of love, it does kind of strike me as that in a way you are living holistic self care every day through these ingredients and the way that you treat yourself and the way that you look at the world, you act in the world, your perspective on things. You are, in essence, through these ingredients, performing holistic self care for yourself every single day. And that strikes me as something so important that many, many people don't actually do in their lives at all. So, what a wonderful recipe. And thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Teacher, may I share the class that I teach, Spirit of Love, and I can just share just some little highlights about the interaction with students and how they really, when they say, well, I love my husband, I love my family, but I never thought about myself. And I asked them, I said, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. And they said, that's hard for me to do. So it shows how we put ourselves on the back burner. And those testimonials are available on my website in terms of how enlightening these ingredients were to others and how it changed not only their lives, but it changed the relationship with others because some of the students said, well, my family said, hey, you're changing. What's going on? I like this. And I said, share what you're doing. Share these ingredients with your family. Call them out so that they can be a participant in anchoring in the power of love. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such important work that you're doing and that you're bringing that message to your students and to the world. And as you said, putting yourself first sometimes it's very, very difficult. And to do it in the spirit of love and in this holistic model that you've created, it's just absolutely amazing. Now, do you want to maybe share some of your programs and services with our listeners so they can get an idea of how they could connect with you or how they could work with you if they wanted to?
Yes, of course. Well, I have the Voice America World Talk Radio Empowerment Show, Love Light, and we broadcast every Friday. Shows are live and on demand. I also have love practice exercises available on my website, jeanfarishjourney.com, and Dr. Jean Marie Farish, consciousloving.com, with weekly love practice exercises. And I have a host of articles that I published in Savannah East that includes conscious loving, steps to living and loving wholeheartedly, what it takes to truly dwell in love, the power of a new chapter. And I'm on TikTok with daily inspiration as well as Facebook. So listeners can, connect with me in various aspects of social media. I have the daily Love Cocktail Minute, Relax, Refresh, Renew. That's available for people on my Facebook page, and also the Lover's Lane Feel Good Now community with empowering inspirational messages and insight.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And do you offer any one on one work or any coaching work or anything like that as well?
Yes, Petra, I offer life care coaching services, and I have an upcoming class, Cultivating Loving Relationships, that I will be hosting. So I'm really excited about that. So you can learn more about that on my websites. Again, I have two websites, and listeners can access those and connect with me. They can also email me at jean72farish@yahoo.com, and I will be happy to connect with them.
Perfect. And we will be linking to all of Dr. Jean Marie's offerings in the show notes as well. So be sure to check there on all the ways that you can get in touch with her and also how you can listen to her radio show on Voice America, which is a lovely, lovely show. So I highly recommend that you go check that out. And this has been another incredible episode, and I really hope our listeners have enjoyed this journey into wholehearted loving and caring for yourself as much as I have. It has been fantastic chatting with you on the podcast today, Dr. Jean Marie. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Petra, for inviting me and for all that you do to make a difference in the world. I'm so delighted to be here, and thanks to your listeners.
Thank you, and right back at you. Thank you so much, and take care.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen in. If you enjoy the Journey podcast, please support us by subscribing, sharing on social media, and leaving us a review. We appreciate you. And you can find more of The Journey on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and our website, thejourney.com. Sending you love and courage, and see you next time.